So I'm going to start off with materialism, which is a subject which is dear to me, and it means different things in a way, but at the end it's all about material goods, about items in the material world. And it's one of the biggest issues I see with science today. So I hear so many people that believe in God putting forward their views about being good and helping each other. Science and its followers comes nothing near to this. Science's materialism forces its followers to be more materialistic. And while they preach about science, giving them iPhones and the internet or imitating life with robots and AI, I've yet to meet one person that's hard into science, that's put forward their faith in science, combined with doing good for each other. In fact, they're forced to believe that we evolved from space dust and evolved to compete with each other. So if a fear of burning and eternal damnation is the sole reason that encourages good behaviour in people who believe in God as a creator, then it's still 1 point more than science. For instance, physicists claim that they're moving towards solving what reality is, and they live in their illusory caves and they're blinded by their own chest-thumping superiority. And the sheer audacity of scientists putting forward their pseudo-scientific theories is quite laughable. They talk about multi-universes, parallel universes, and time travel, which are concepts that sound as strange as the beliefs of the religious people that scientists such as Stephen Hawking speaks out against. And many people actually forget that science is laden with theories, of which none are actual truths. Science knows nothing and it needs a radical revolution. And the silly arguments that people use, such as we wouldn't have internet or mobile phones without science, is testament to the limited knowledge and the stupidity, yes, I said it, of people and their views on science. Now, philosopher Thomas Nagel is so unimpressed with science that he is challenging the fundamental assumptions in his new books called Mind and Cosmos. And Nagel contends that current scientific theories and methods can't account for the emergence of life in general, and for humans in particular. And to solve these problems, Nagel asserts that science needs a major conceptual revolution, as radical as those precipitated by heliocentrism, evolution, and relativity. So let me explain a little bit about materialism. Materialism has been traditionally like a minority view, and it found a firm foothold in the educated European people. And here are 3 reasons as to why this is likely. First of all, there's been a decline in religious conviction that involves gods and demons as the cause of events, meaning that we don't attribute climate change to supernatural forces anymore. 2, materialism is also found in the medical field, such as the discoveries of biochemical mechanisms involved in neural functioning and their links to psychological processes and how we can alter them by drugs or electrodes. And a malfunction of the mind is taken to be a malfunction of the brain. And this is a kind of pragmatic materialism that leads to the common assumption that mental activity is a special kind of physical process. And this happens to be a critical component of materialism. And it's also the rise of electronic materialism, which sees a growth in electronic fields such as computing, calculations, pattern recognition, estimation processes, problem solving and machine learning, tasks which were usually assigned to humans, and they're now being routinely performed by electronic devices that, unless panpsychism is true, are purely physical structures. So materialism remains nonetheless paradoxical because it insists that the only difference between human beings and a grain of sand prove to be matters of energy flow and structural complexity. Yet here we are embracing materialism because it offers a comprehensive, unified account of the nature of reality that is economical, intelligible, and consistent with the most successful of the sciences. Thomas Hobbes, he was captivated by Euclidean geometry, for instance, and he spent most of his time trying to work out a philosophy of nature using his, that model. And his aim was to discover by analysis of experience the fundamental principles expressing the true nature of everything. And the result is almost pure materialism. Then in the 19th century, we have Kant, Hegel, Schopenhauer, and Mill, and these are the people that we hold dear as our greatest thinkers. And materialism from them asserts that everything in the world is a result of the operation of physical forces directly tied to their physical laws. In my view, if we refuse to look beyond the material world, then we stay stuck in the world of rigidity. Anyway, I'm going to get a little bit more in layman's terms now. This leads me to general materialism and our fascination with obtaining more material goods, which is another thing altogether in some ways, but it's about materialism. So they've done studies And those studies have shown that there's a direct correlation between materialism and the lack of empathy and engagement with others and unhappiness. And in one test in which they tested participants 12 years apart, the materialistic people were more susceptible to disorders, and those that weren't became more happier. And there was also tests carried out on Icelanders after their economic crash, in which the results showed that those who concentrated on regaining material wealth, as opposed to those who became less interested in money and focused on their families and community, were unhappier overall. So, our material system is based on perpetual growth, and this creates a system whereby some people end up facing debt, creating low self-esteem, mental illness, and unhealthy relationships, all due to our focus on obtaining more to what we believe leads to a better life. And there's so much evidence to suggest that we can live better lives if only we stop trying to achieve worldly ambition, material aspiration, and perpetual growth.
Sitting back since yesterday, it's a game don't wanna play.